Hello learners, hope you're still doing very well. We covered topic 1 and also topic 2, which was talking about the origin of man. So now we're going to talk about topic 3, and it is talking about migration and settlement in East Africa since 1000 AD. We are having keywords which are in the statement. It is talking about migration and settlement. What is migration and what is to settle? We've all been doing migration in our primary, there is rural-urban migration, there is urban-rural migration. So migration, what does it mean? It is simply the movement of people from one place to another, but then with all their commodities or with their goods. Movement of people with their goods or property from one place to another. So now we are looking at movement of people from different places into East Africa. And settlement is just finding a place where to stay permanently. That is migration and settlement. And those are the key words that we have. Migration and settlement. Why do we have to talk about migration and settlement in history? Before anything, like we had Uganda. But then we didn't have people in Uganda. It was just, as you can see, land very far and no one has gone there. But then with time people will go there and then they'll name that place, they'll give that place a name, and people, like, life will go on. So still Uganda was like vacant, no one was there. People came from different areas to occupy it. So I want to know, where did these people come from who are living in Uganda today? That's why I have to talk about migration and settlement. We have major ethnic groups in Uganda. We're having the Bantu, we're having the Luo, we also have the Hamites. What are the Bantu? Bantu are this group of people who have a common word in their language. You know that word, into, the last word here, into. That is the Bantu. They have always their word ends with into, I say into. That's why they're called the Bantu. Examples of the Bantu, we have the Baganda, the Banyoro, the Bachiga, we're having the Bahima. There are many groups of the Bantu. And we also have another ethnic group, which is the Luo. The Luo, they mostly live in the northern areas. And we're having the Hamites who came from Ethiopia. So that is also another group of people who we have in Uganda. First of all, I want to know, where did the Bantu come from? There are many stories which tell us, history always says their migration is not clear because no one was there when they were migrating. But then it is said that they came from Niger-Congo basin. That is where they say they came from, or Cameroon Highlands. And then the Luo, tell us they came from Sudan, and then which the place is called Bahel Gazelle. And then the Hamites, they tell us they came from Ethiopia, and they're mainly cattle keepers. The Bantu, they are farmers, they're agriculturists. The Luo, they're also cattle keepers, they're pastoralists. And then the Hamites were also pastoralists. However, later they adopted some agriculture. So those are the major ethnic groups that we have in Uganda. However, the largest ethnic group in Uganda are the Bantu. And they live around the central parts, the central and the eastern. So there are really very many in Uganda. We're going to have a story of Mr. Tambas. And this story is telling us about something. So get ready to hear the story. Once upon a time, there was a man, and this man was called Mr. Tambazi. He lived in Niger-Congo basin. The man was called Mr. Tambas, and he lived in Niger-Congo basin. He had 4 wives and many children. When there are 4 wives, everyone will give birth. So he had 4 wives and many children. For some reasons, conflicts developed among the children and the wives. And still there was social because we're saying there are very many. We also had shortage of land for cultivation. Pasture and water for their animals was also not enough due to the increasing number of people. And because these children loved adventure, as you also want to know what lies ahead. When they tell you we are going here, you also go. We are going here, you also go. Because you really love adventure. They decided to leave their cradle land, which was Niger, Congo, Basin. When they lived their cradle land, most of these children, they moved eastwards. And one of them was Mukasa. He entered into East Africa in the region of Lake Albert and Lake Edward. We all know Lake Albert and Lake Edward. So Mukasa entered into that part through Lake Edward and Lake Albert. Some members, they crossed and settled around Lake George, while others, they continued to the northwest of Lake Victoria. However, another group proceeded and went to Tanzanian Plateau and Taita Hills. That was Mukasa. We are saying he passed through Lake Albert and Lake Edward. Some of his family members stayed at Lake George, and others went to the northwest of Lake Victoria, while another group moved and settled in Tanzanian Plateau and Taita Hills. And however, some members, they settled around Mount Kilimanjaro. That was one group which was led by Mukasa. We had also another group, and this group entered East Africa through Lake Malawi and Lake Tanganyika. They entered through Lake Malawi and Lake Tanganyika. And there's also another group which was led by Nyerere. This group entered between Lake Kivu and Lake Tanganyika, and they settled in central Tanzania. Other groups crossed eastern Uganda and western Kenya, and they settled around Mount Elgon. So from central Tanzania, other members moved towards Mount Kilimanjaro and the coast. And some people settled in Kenyan highlands, and these were led by Ngugi. So we've seen many of his children, they moved and went to different areas. So that is the story of Mr. Tambas and his family. We saw he had 4 wives, and those wives, they produced many children, and we saw some children migrating. We are having an assignment, so you've heard the story. Why did Mr. Tambas, where was he coming from? What was their original homeland? That is the first question. And why did they leave their homeland to come to East Africa? Why did Mr. Tambas and his family and the 4 kids and the many kids we are seeing, why did they have to leave Niger, Congo Basin to come to East Africa? And then you're going to draw a sketch map of East Africa. I know you know that sketch map of East Africa, and you can find it anywhere. You're going to draw the sketch map of East Africa, and you show me where they entered and where they settled. Because I was telling you, Mukasa entered through Lake Albert and Lake Edward. Then I've told you, Nyerere entered through Lake Kivu and Lake Tanganyika. Then I also told you, Ngugi, they entered through mounts. They went through the northwards and then settled into Mount Kilimanjaro. So you're going to show me all of their movement and settlement, where they moved and where they settled. And you use arrows to tell me, like they entered here and they settled here and then they settled there. After that, you will tell me, what do you think happened in East Africa when those people came? What were the effects of their coming? And lastly, you tell me what ethnic group among these ones do you think Mr. Tambas and his family belong to? Thank you very much. You send in your assignment to our email and I'll be willing and very ready to mark it. Thank you. That is the sample of the map of East Africa. It looks like that. That is a sketch map of East Africa. You're going to use this to tell me where these groups came from. You're trying to see some arrows. You're having Lake Alba, Lake Tanganyika here down, and then you're having also Lake Malawi. We've said one group entered through here. And then you said one group entered through Lake Albert and Lake Edward. We're seeing that side also there. We're seeing others coming from up. That was another ethnic group. So you're going to show me many of those arrows and telling me where they even settled. Where did they go? Because we're seeing some of them came from here and then they settled in Kenya. Others came and then they came to Tanganyika. You're going to tell me all of that using this sketch map. I think I've really simplified your work of drawing that sketch map, showing me the movements of Mukasa, Nyerere, and then Ngugi and their families. We're having the ethnic groups, and these ethnic groups we're having the Bantu. The Bantu are categorized into different groups. We're having the Highland Bantu, and then we also have the Intra-Karstan Bantu. Examples of this: the Intra-Karstan Bantu are these Bantu who stayed around water bodies. For example, Lake Victoria. An example of such Bantu, we have the Baganda and the Banyoro, and also the Basoga. Then we have the Highland Bantu. These ones, they went and settled in highland places, like mountainous places. An example, you would have the Bagisu. They went and settled around Mount Elgon. And others, we have the Chaga in Tanganyika. Those are examples of Highland Bantu. So they categorize into the types. We have the Highland Bantu, also have the Intra-Karstan Bantu. We're having also the Hamites. Who are the Hamites? Hamites are a group of people who migrated from Ethiopia, and they are mainly cattle keepers, or you can say they are pastoralists. So today they live in the north, they live in the southwestern and central parts of Uganda. Example of these Hamites, we have the Lugbal. Have you heard of the Lugbal? In your conversation, you always see about those Lugbal. We also have the Madi, we have the Okebo, and in southwest we have the Hima and the Tutsi. And also the Tutsi also in Rwanda. So we have the Hima and the Tutsi. All of those are examples of the Hamites. The Luo speakers. Who are the Luo? These are a group of people who migrated from South Sudan. And the Luo, they're divided into types. We have the plain Nilotes, we have the river lake Nilotes, and we also have the highland Nilotes. The plain Nilotes, they lived in plain lands, and those include the Itesots, the Karamajongs, and then the Turkana. Those Turkana are found in Kenya. We have the river lake Nilotes. River lake Nilotes, it means these are the group of Nilotes or group of the Luo who lived around lakes and rivers. Among these we have the Alu, we have the Acholi, we also have the Japadola, and then we also have the Kenyan Luo. Those are examples of river lake Nilotes. We also have the highland Nilotes. Highland Nilotes, we have the Kalenjin and the Sabine. Those are examples of the highland Nilotics. They settled in mountainous areas. Those are categories of the Luo speakers, or types of Luo speakers. The Nilotics, plain Nilotics, highland, and then river, lake Nilotes. So that is briefly about the Luo, Bantu, and the Hamites, which are the largest ethnic groups that we have in Uganda. Thank you.